Hey guys, hi Kat. Shoes. I have a pair of shoes that were given to me. They're Ultras. Ultras are zero drop, not minimalistic. They're actually maximum shoes. I'm not. I never particularly liked wearing those big, um, like you're walking on cloud shoes that are really popular in ultra races now. I like the minimalist style, but they're zero drop, which means they sort of mimic the minimalistic, but providing with maximum cushion. I don't really need cushion, but I need shoes. These shoes were given to me. A friend of mine used to, and they don't have, they might not even have 10 miles on them in total. Hey, Marlon. Um, a friend of mine wore the same size shoe to me, and he was a shoe fanatic. So he would buy like a bunch at a time. So many that he got like some for free. The ones he got for free, he said, hey, same size, do you want them? Since I do like ultras, I was like, sure. They wear out quick when you're walking, oddly. Let me bring up my desktop. I can't see what's going on. Hey, Toy Pups.
11
Wait
Lab
a minute.
Studio is here.
What's going on here? Why do I see jewels coming from Canada? Why do I see jewels coming from Toy Pups? Semper says Dolly isn't filmed well today. Prayers for Dolly. We are sending love. Hey, Anthony. Once I put this shoe on, we're going to ring the bell 3 times. Hey, Marlon. Give me a thumbs up when you're ready to turn your volume down, as we're going to ring the bell 3 times for our friend Dolly. Hey, Martine. How are you? I'm doing good this morning. Thank you, Marlon. Guys, 3 times for our friend. This is for Dolly. Prayers, my friend. So, Toy Pops, thank you so much. Hey, Aunt. When did you get the jewels? Martine, I hope you're doing well. Hey guys, if you are not subscribed to our friend Martine, please do. Food from Afar. It's got a wonderful channel full of recipes from all over the world. One of my all-time favorite people. Hey, Lady Sky. And, by the way, we are on lesson, I think, 49. Our friend Anna said she probably won't be able to make it on this morning's live stream. And that's okay. We will give something for her to come back to. Hey, Skits. Kat says, laughing, me too, Yogi. What a great surprise from TP. It is a great surprise. Toy Pups is always full of surprises, isn't she? We never know what to expect. So I'm thinking a lot about my channel lately, obviously, the direction I'm going. I can't think about my channel without thinking about your channel. And by you, I mean you. You know who you are. And I don't want to move forward. And I do think of it, I guess, it's not a linear path, but I don't want to move forward. I don't want this energy if it doesn't include everyone. What is it that you guys want? And how can we make it happen? One of the reasons why I reach out to our guest coming up today is she's going to help us. This is Frances Faden. She's an interfaith minister, but she wants to talk about manifestation, our path, not just of awakening, but a path of life. If we're not happy, we're not going to be enlightened. Enlightened, taking that heavy weight of the heart. You know, in the language of School Sniper, it's an alchemical process. We're going to talk about the divine feminine. We're going to talk about manifestation. We're going to talk about Mother Mary. Looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to, hopefully, it helping anyone out who needs that little edge of energy. Hey, Luke. How are you, my friend? Hey, Raider. How are you? It's always nice seeing you too, my friend. Tip says, YouTube gave her a gift. Well, don't waste it all in my direction, my friend. Hey, Miss Flipper. Honest has somewhat missed the normal lives. Feels a bit overkill with all the guests lately. That's just me. And I'm notoriously weird. Me too. Who was different from the average. Yeah, it could certainly feel that way. But that's the way that I'm actually called to head. So I really can't help it, you know? But I can appreciate that, Marlon. From one weird guy to another weird guy. Let's dive into lesson 49. I love lesson 49. Miss Pippa says, to Marlon, this is a Misfits of Love collective. Absolutely. We need a handshake. We need t-shirts. We need coffee mugs. Lesson 49 says, God's voice speaks to me all through the day. Before we dive in, remember, the Holy Spirit is the voice for God. Nothing less, nothing more. The voice for God. Does it need to be anything other than that? The voice for God? Not the voice of God, the voice for God, speaking to you. It is quite possible to listen to God's voice all through the day without interrupting your regular activities in any way. The part of your mind in which truth abides is in constant communication with God, whether you are aware of it or not. It is the other part of your mind that functions in the world and obeys the world's law. It is this part that is constantly distracted, disorganized, and highly uncertain. Other part of your mind that functions in the world and obeys the world's law. It is this part that is constantly distracted, disorganized, and highly uncertain. I wanted to re-emphasize that. The part that is listening to the voice for God is calm, always at rest, and wholly certain. It is really the only part that is. The only part is a wild illusion. The other part is a wild illusion, frantic and distraught, but without reality of any kind. Try today not to listen to it. Try to identify with the part of your mind where stillness and peace reign forever. Try to hear God's voice call to you lovingly, reminding you that your Creator has not forgotten His Son. We will need at least 4 5-minute practice periods today and more if possible. We will try actually to hear God's voice reminding you of Him and yourself, capital S on that self. We will approach this happiest and holiest of thoughts with confidence, knowing that in doing so, we are joining our will with the will of God, He wants you to hear His voice. He gave it to you to be heard. Listen in deep silence. Be very still and open your mind. Go past all the raucous shrieks and sick imaginings that cover your real thoughts and obscure your eternal link with God. Sink deep into the peace that waits for you beyond the frantic, riotous thoughts and sights and sounds of this insane world. You do not live here. We are trying to reach your real home. We are trying to reach the place where you truly welcome, where you are truly welcome. We are trying to reach God. Do not forget to repeat today's idea very frequently. Do so with your eyes open when necessary, but closed when possible. And be sure to sit quietly and repeat the idea for today whenever you can, closing your eyes to the world and realizing that you're inviting God's voice to speak to you now. I'm reminded of Herman Melville, who said in Moby Dick that silence is the only voice of God. Let's do some breath work, guys. We're going to do 3 breaths, the physiological sigh. And then we're going to settle into our own natural rhythm of the breath. Spend a minute just following it in and out completely on its own, no effort given to it. And then we are going to repeat today's idea. God's voice speaks to me all through the day, and then we're going to sink into the quiet that follows. Any thought that comes afterwards, just allow it to pass. Meditation is not the absence of thought. Meditation is the awareness that thoughts are always passing through, and yet they gain no purchase when we simply let them go. The physiological sigh is when we breathe in deep through the nose, we fill the belly, and then we take a sip in, and we sigh through the mouth, pursed lips, tongue in the roof of the mouth. As you exhale, let all that gravity, all the weight, all the worries, all the stress, all the anxiety simply melt down through your shoulders and out through your fingers and give them a shake. 3 times. Here we go. Taking a sip. Sigh. Shake off that stress. Breath number 2. Sip in air. Sigh. Let those shoulders drop down. All that weight of all the stress, of all the heaviness melting away, falling off, and our last breath together. Sip. Sigh. One last gentle shake. Shake those hands out. Eyes closed. Follow the breath. Easy, natural rhythm. Notice the belly rising. How the belly falls back completely on its own, unencumbered by any effort. No stress added. And we remind ourselves that God's voice speaks to me all through the day. God's voice speaks to me all through the day. God speaks in silence. There's only one language: love. Love. God's voice speaks to me through the day. My only job is to listen. Listening. Spend a moment in silence. When you're ready, open your eyes. See you in the chat. What do we got going on? Okay, before I read the comments that were deleted, were they funny? Nope, they weren't. Hey, Joseph. Joseph, how are you, my friend? Miss Ripper says, give me but little trust. In the name of complete trust I have in you. I always love, the Course really does ask so little, doesn't it? And they use that. A little willingness, a little trust. They use that often. Sniper says, trust is all. Toy Pup says, beautiful Miss Blipper. Toy Pups, are you up early? Zach says, Salgado said, what's up? I think he just heard you, my friend. Miss Blipper says, as above, so below. Hermetic Pavzak. Hey, Liza, how are you? Look at that. I'm all caught up in the chat. Didn't take long at all. Any questions about lesson 49? One more, and we got our first 50 under the belt. 50 days of the Course in Miracles. For those who have stuck with me, stuck with the Course, it's pretty awesome. A lot of people don't make it through the first 50, at least the first half dozen, 2 dozen times, including me. But as it says in the Bhagavad Gita, no effort is ever wasted upon the spiritual path. I don't know why math came in my head. No effort is ever wasted along the spiritual path. So that means every time you dive into A Course in Miracles, even getting one lesson before you put the book aside, every time you sit quietly in meditation, every time you practice the repetition of the mantra, every time you forgive. Hey, Bushka, my friend, how are you? Nice to see you. Hey, so we just did breath work with a little meditation from A Course in Miracles. But, when we have live streams like this, I'm always happy to do more breath work if anyone had missed out and they wanted to do some. Luke says, enjoy the question and answer last time. Awesome deep dive. Oh, yeah, with Patty. We're going to do that once a month. I think the next one is going to be, it's not actually that far. It's going to be on March 2nd. Hey, Terry. Good morning to you. Maybe the spiritual path is also a mathematical certainty. I would agree with that. Kenneth Wapnick did a discourse on Dostoevsky. Sorry, I'm just so proud of myself. I know I didn't even say that 100% correctly, but it's as close as I'm going to get. Butchka says, I'm a good friend. Hope you're well too. I am. Thank you. So he wrote The Underground Man. The Underground Man was someone who was dissatisfied with maybe a little bit of a existential angst with everyday life. And life was told him, society was telling him, his parents, his friends, his teachers, everyone, social media of the day was telling him that he needed to live in a button-down 4x4 world. 4 plus 4. I'm sorry. 2 plus 2 equals 4, right? Always and only. You got to live in that 2 plus 2 equals 4 world. But he started thinking, what if I don't want it to be 2 plus 2 equals 4? What if I want 2 plus 2 equals 5? Can I live in a world in which 2 plus 2 equals 5? Meaning, what if I want to be an artist? What if I want to start a YouTube channel and talk about weird things and contemplate why my mustache grows at a different rate than the rest of my facial hair? What if I want to say that out loud on a morning live stream and being unafraid of how weird people think I am? 2 plus 2 equals 5, right? A redefining of the mathematical equation that we live by life, where 2 plus 2 always and only must equal 5. It doesn't have to. If you're here, if you have a YouTube channel, you're starting to think, you know what? I just want to present my own unique brand of me to the world, unfiltered. the things that are important to me. That's 2 plus 2 equals 5. However, on another level, the only math that ever makes sense, 2 plus 2 always and only equals 1. You know why? There's only one. There's only one. There's allness, suchness, as they say in Buddhism, the suchness of life. Everything interdependent upon another to the point where it's seamless, and there is nothing else except that infinite spread of oneness. Only one. 2, 1 plus 1, 2 plus 2 only equals 1. I'm getting my math all confused. 2 plus 2, me, you, is only 1. That's the only mathematical formula that ever makes true sense. Here's the thing. In the world, we go through life pretending that 2 plus 2 equals 4, right? We play by the rules, we do the right thing, we go to school, we chop wood, we carry water. And then, all the while, we play by the dictates that 2 plus 2 equals 5. We do those little artistic things that no one wants us to do. We start our YouTube channels, we paint, we draw, we spend time in nature, we smile more often, we forgive when the world tells us this is unforgivable. 2 plus 2 equals 5. And yet, all the while, deep down inside, with that smile that plays upon our lips, it's because we know that ultimately speaking, 2 plus 2 always and only equals 1. 1. Because that's all there is. That's reality. 1. All right. What else is going on? Miss Pippa says, anything real is shared. I agree. Were Jesus and Buddha exclusively listening to the voice of God? Yes. Specifically Jesus, not discounting the Buddha. The Buddha was, let's say, different language, right? But, or let's say different understanding of the language, but the language was the same. Gary Renard, I forget which one of his books, talked about how we turn to Jesus as a leader. But Jesus was actually the ultimate follower, because Jesus got to the point where all he followed was the Holy Spirit. All he followed was that voice of God so deeply that that's all it was that he could communicate with. This is why Jesus was the Christ. And this is why he spoke to us in parables, because we could not understand the language of God, because we believed that 2 plus 2 equals 4. Jesus was speaking to the heart. He was not speaking to the ego. This is what Lloyd Lapp and Stephanie were talking about on Saturday when they came up. The Holy Spirit is always talking to the butterfly within us, never to the caterpillar. Caterpillar doesn't understand the ways of the butterfly because the caterpillar has not yet been transformed, and yet everything is beginning to turn to mush. The mushiness of a caterpillar, not the mushiness of a pea. It's an entirely different conversation of which we are not going to get ourselves involved in this morning. Hey, Kamari, how are you, my friend? Antonia, how are you? Bushka says, Yogi, what is the mental effect of constant rain, gloomy skies for months on humans? It is depression. It is, we could call it seasonal depression. If you already suffer any form of low-level depression, then it deepens the effects. And it does for me. Winter, and we get snow here, but the usual winter through spring is lots and lots of rain. And it does deepen the effects. Makes it feel personal. This is why self-care, self-nurturing is of the utmost importance. Not everyone is going to recognize the signs. For me, sometimes the signs of my depression is in the form of um, mania, manic, uh, because it's almost like there's a part of me that is trying to outrun um, that gloominess. They got to be careful. Um, they got to be careful being watchful, being mindful, because I have had profound healing of depression, of anxiety, panic attacks. However, that profound healing doesn't mean it was eradicated, and I have to be mindful because it does resurface. It does resurface often. Usually, I'm able to be watchful of it and just watch it as it's there, but sometimes it catches me. In Tibetan Buddhism, a meditation term, it's called Shepna. Shepna. It's either Shepna or Shenpa. I think it might be Shenpa. That sounds more Tibetan, doesn't it? For my friends who speak fluent Tibetan, of which I'm sure there's many of them here, it means hook. And when we're meditating, we're humming along. We're thinking the mantra, we're letting it go. We're thinking the mantra, we're letting it go. We're following the breath. We're following the breath. And along comes a thought. And when everything is just right, that thought just floats by like a cloud, not gaining a single purchase in the mind. But sometimes that thought, that feeling, that whatever, we catch the hook and it carries us away. We're off. We're fighting the line. We're diving up, we're diving down, but we're hooked. Good thing is we can always come back to the breath. We can always come back to the mantra. We can unhook ourselves. That's the way it is with me and depression these days, that I can cruise along fine. I can be watchful. I can see it. I can watch it float by. Largely being uninvolved, but sometimes, Shenpa, I get hooked. Weather can do that to me. I never know what can do that. I never know. It has been, depression has been a very active part of my life the last few months. It's been difficult. Luke says, so he didn't speak in literal terms. Do you have a good book on an esoteric reading of the Bible? Not so much of the Bible, but I would read the Gnostic texts. I would read the Gospel of St. Thomas, the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, the Gospel of Judas, and Eileen Pagel. Excellent, excellent books. Keith Giles, who was a guest maybe 3 weeks ago, one of my favorite guests. I love guests who are offering something different than what I'm usually used to, because it just opens me up in a whole different way. So this is, again, Bushka, sorry I ran away with that question a bit. This is when we need to nurture ourselves, these times. This is when we need to do that breath work. Not when we need to do it, not when we're in the throes of depression or anxiety. We need to do breath work every day, 3 times a day, therapeutically as needed, so that it lessens the effect of depression, of gloom, of anxiety when it enters. We need to be vigilant. That's the problem, is that we feel better and we push it aside. Well, I'm better now. And we don't do the things that will nurture us when they reappear. Breath work, meditation, forgiveness is essential. When we talk about forgiveness here, again, I'm not talking about I forgive you because I forgive myself. Forgiveness is enlightenment. Yes. Hey, life. Do what you need to do, life. I don't think YouTube really cares if how often you time someone out. Anyway, I didn't even see what you said, Life. So again, if anyone needs a little extra breath work, just let me know. I'll be live for about maybe 10 more-ish minutes. That's okay, Life. Life goes on. Um, Let me read what I wrote this morning. I have heard of them, Luke. It's pretty awesome. I was following along. This is what I wrote this morning. If you see that there's a little name change in my channel. I went originally just my name, Eric McCarty, and then I started my channel and it became Just a Yogi doing burpees in his basement because I was just a yogi doing burpees in my basement. Then I dropped the burpees in my basement and I was just a yogi. About a month ago, I added just a yogi, maybe not even a month ago, just a yogi hyphen Course in Miracles because I wanted to really spin my life focus and it's what I want to offer. And I wanted to make sure that people knew and that the algorithms caught hold. And then just yesterday, I got the message to add just a yogi, the yoga of forgiveness, because that's what I'm presenting. That's my yoga practice. And that is Kasama, Ksama, which is a Sanskrit word and it means forgiveness. But as with everything in Sanskrit, it's layered. The words are layered in Sanskrit, as well as in Hebrew, as well, I believe, in Aramaic and other really ancient languages. So Kasama, it's a mind asana. Kasama, which is Sanskrit word for forgiveness, and with every word of that ancient language, so much more is layered into its meaning. Sanskrit words are often meant to convey qualities of virtue, not just a single action or label, but an actual way of living. Kasama too is such a word, and it is deep in the gifts that it offers. Here, we're not asked to forgive in any traditional sense, but to hold it deep as a posture of the mind, an asana that is returned to us throughout the day, and lived as an expression of divine grace. There is an implied strength within the word, forbearance, that we are meant to return to this. We are meant to return to this as a practice of surrender, releasing others for long-held resentments, refusing to judge or hold a grievance, and knowing that this is our own path of true salvation. It's the yoga of forgiveness. And so for me, A Course in Miracles has become my yoga. It's my forgiveness path, Kasama in its pure sense of grace and purpose. I've been led to this point, countless asanas, endless repetitions of mantra, and cultivating prana through my breath work, all valuable practices preparing me for a final letting go. In the end, moksha, or liberation, is freedom from the heaviness of grievances. Forgiveness is enlightenment. It's the path that takes us home, directly so. That was my morning writing. I wouldn't say that my moderators are going to ruin my channel. I would say that someone reporting me for having moderators that are protecting me might hurt my channel more than a moderator who is filtering out comments that they think might be harmful for the conversation. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Miss Pippa says, Luke, I walk every day unless it's crazy pouring out. I agree with that, Luke. Sometimes it feels too much, doesn't it? Pippa says, Miss Flipper, do they ever do a paper chase in Rome like in Venice? Luke says, you're Justin Eric being awesome. Thank you, Luke. Definitely Justin Eric, for sure. So, practicing forgiveness is practicing enlightenment. We say practice because we don't believe it yet. So we practice until we do. We practice until it sticks. So, liberation. Liberation means freedom from the small self to be embraced by the larger self, the small s self to the capital S self, from mere humanness to the divineness of being human. Um, Forgiveness brings us back all the time. It is not about pardoning sin, it is seeing the innocence of sin within you, so that I can recognize it within myself. It's in recognizing it in myself so that I can extend it to you. It's a mutual exchange of recognition of who we truly are, seeing past a collective forgetfulness of the crap we put ourselves through. And we are all putting ourselves and others through crap. And by practicing it that way, by refusing to get caught up in the form, by refusing to get caught up in the things of the world, we transcend. Forgiveness, practicing miracles, asking for that shift of perception is transcendence. It's the ultimate form of transcendental meditation. And you can do it like that. You don't need to sit in lotus position. You don't need to use a meditation bench. You don't need to practice breath work. You don't need to meditate. But all those are great, and I highly recommend them. But forgiveness is when I see you. Forgiveness is when we have a friend comes in and says, I don't like your moderator, so I'm going to report your channel. Forgiveness is seeing through the crap of the morning to the divinity that is playing out in all actions. And it ain't an easy practice until it is. Bushka says, sorry for you, Yogi, and everyone else feeling depressed. I know it's not easy, and great advice you have on breath work, but just wondering, is there another tool to use if choice is not to do breath work? Yes, there is. But let me add on to the breath work. You're always doing breath work. Your breath is always a reflection of how you're feeling. If you are depressed, you are breathing in such a way that helps facilitate depression. The breath never lies. The breath always tells the truth. We are always breathing. So it's why it's such a valuable tool. It's a valuable tool for our health, for our well-being, for our mental stability, for enlightenment, for our health. But if someone doesn't want to do specific, purposeful breath work, there are ways of the somatic practices that we did yesterday, the body practices that actually help us repurpose the central nervous system from being at this level, and we do these practices to bring us down to this level and this level and this level. And that is just countless, touching the arms. Some of it can be spontaneous. You ever notice that whenever I demonstrate hand skating, sometimes someone will say, I do that when I'm nervous. I do that when I'm anxious, because it's self-regulating. It might start off as you're anxious, but everything can be slowed down. So if I'm anxious and I'm going like this and I notice I'm also swaying, I can take a breath. Not doing breath work, but I can take a breath and I can slow down. Now I can be mindful. Now I can turn it into an expression of self-love. Very soft, very slow. Those butterfly hugs. Yesterday we talked about that 5-4-3-2-1 method, the cognitive shuffling, where you take a word, any word that comes to you like that, don't strain for it, and then you take each letter of the word and spend time, 10 seconds, thinking whatever word comes to mind that begin with that letter, and then going on to the next and the next and the next. As well, asanas, yoga postures. You can do it in as little as 2 or 3 postures. And it helps open us up for a whole new energy system. Walking in nature, even if it's raining, guess what? Rain is nature. Art therapy. Can you write about what you're experiencing without self-censoring? That's not good enough. I don't like that. That's the wrong word. Just write. Journal. Practice gratitude. Gratitude is a profound practice. I started saying thank you, thank you, thank you in the 1980s. I read Meister Eckhart, the German mystic. He said if the only prayer one says in the entirety of their life is thank you, that would suffice. That would be enough. So I don't know why, but I started saying thank you, thank you, thank you every morning. And I felt like I had nothing to be thankful for. Self-destructive drinking, ruining relationships, dead-end jobs, dropping out of college, community college, but still dropping out of community college, wrecking cars, endangering people's lives. What did I have to be thankful for? I was miserable. Thought I was having fun, going to bars. I was miserable. But I persisted in saying thank you. And it's not easy saying thank you, thank you, thank you with a horrendous hangover. But again, I persisted. And then I started thinking of things to be thankful for. I started thinking, so if I'm saying thank you, what do I have to be thankful for? Guess what? I had a roof over my head. I had people who loved me in spite of my best effort to give them reason not to. And then I started waking up grateful, spontaneously so. Taking a breath and realizing, man, guess what? I just took a breath. And I didn't have to. What are the odds of me even being here with a universe that is fine-tuned to allow me to take a breath? I don't have to gather oxygen. I don't have to be a hunter-gatherer of oxygen. I don't have to look for it and say, man, the one thing I truly need to exist right now is to take a breath. I better go out and find myself some air. My eyes opened first thing in the morning and I took a breath. I was alive. And then it became a way of life. Let me, real quick, if I can find it. Gratitude is very big in A Course in Miracles. All right, anyway, let me dive back in the chat before we wrap things up. Luke says, can I just say the way you never miss a comment is amazing? During questions and answers, you listen to guests while monitoring comments and filtering out questions or interesting comments. That's a serious skill. Thank you, Luke. I appreciate hearing that. I'm trying, and I appreciate that you notice the effort. Cass says, I don't think Scroll Sniper particularly likes for everyone to call him Chipmunk. Sniper says, because it's your ward. Yep, there you go. As Sniper said, because it's your ward, Miss Flipper. Miss Flipper says, I asked him one time, Cat, he said he didn't mind. Cat says, from you, Miss Flipper. This is true. Hey, Daniel, happy Wednesday to you. Hey, Life, how are you? Keep Life Simple is here. Hey, Bushka, my friend, I hope that helps. The key is, let me give you the key. I talked about this a bit yesterday. The key is RAIN, an acronym, RAIN, recognition. What's going on? Check in with yourself. How often do we check in with ourselves? How am I feeling? Traditional. We see a neighbor, we see a friend, even a stranger. Hey, how's it going? How are you? How are you today? We do it in our live streams every morning. How are you today, Yogi? How are you today, Luke? How are you today, Kat? How often do we do it with ourselves? How am I today? Guess what? I'm not doing too good today. How am I today? Recognize. It's huge. That is the first in the acronym. Allow. Once you recognize, allow. We're always so quick in trying to fix everything, right? I'm depressed, I need to fix it. What if we just allowed it? Just allow it. This is what is now. And it's not going to change until it changes. I can try to force it away, push it away. Guess what? That's just bypassing. It doesn't go anywhere. It's stored in the body. The body keeps score. And it resurfaces. Allow. Recognize, allow, and then investigate. Investigate with calm, with ease, with infinite care, tenderness, and compassion. As if you are tending to an infant that's not feeling well, as if you're feeding a kitten, as if you're holding a puppy. Investigate. Where do I feel this? Where do I feel my depression? Am I holding it somewhere in my body? What are my thoughts when I'm depressed? How do I react to other people? How do I react to myself when I'm depressed? Can I love myself? What happens if I'm depressed and I'm allowing it? I recognize it and I say, you know what? Depressed. But I can also love myself in this very moment. One and the same. I can love myself and be depressed. I can love myself and be this. I can love myself and. It doesn't always have to be an either and. It doesn't have to be a but. It doesn't have to be an or. I can't love myself when I'm depressed, can I? What if I could? What if I investigated to find out if I could? And then N. RAIN. RAIN. Nurture. Nurture yourself. Nurturing yourself comes in so many forms, all of them good, but it has to be good for you. I can't tell you what's going to be good for you. Journaling works for so many people, but it might not work for you. Breath work works for virtually everyone, but maybe it doesn't work for you, or maybe for whatever reason it's not the thing for you, or at least not right now. Maybe the yoga postures, yoga asanas, are exactly what you need because you need that kinesthetic feel of movement, of stretching, of release. Maybe taking a walk in the actual rain and feeling the embrace of life, that sometimes it rains in life, and guess what? I can repurpose the rain as a cleansing effect, an aspect of nature that is showing me how life nurtures itself. Rain is released by the clouds. Rain is released by the clouds of depression and welcomed gratefully by the earth for nourishment and for release of the spring flowers, for everything blooming, blossoming again, to be renewed in a sense of love. Again, maybe it's journaling, maybe it's artwork. Put a blank canvas up. And what does that blank canvas tell you to do? What is it asking you to fill it? Same with an empty page. Who knows? And maybe it's meditation, but nurture yourself. And maybe it's just using language that supports the tenderness that you need in the moment. Maybe you're not getting that from other people. Maybe you're not having someone hold you and say, you know what? It does hurt. It does suck. I don't really know what you're going through, but I know you're going through something, and I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. You can tell yourself that. You can do what Toy Pup says. You can Miley Cyrus your way. You notice we can turn anything into a verb. You can Miley Cyrus your way out of it or in it. You can buy yourself flowers. You can dance. Clear space in a little room. Put on some jazz and ask the jazz ask Miles Davis, ask John Coltrane, Horace Silver, ask the Bird. Put on some Grateful Dead. How does the music want you to move? Dance through your depression. Are you feeling manic? Dance like a maniac. A maniac. I'm in a chair. I had the urge to throw my head back and let a whole thing of water come pouring down on me. Or dance in a slow, mindful manner. Dance the energy that you are feeling. Dance the divine. Find your way. All right. Hey, Kayla, how are you? Luke says, what do you want to see your channel become? Yourself, Eric? What's your vision? You want to be the facilitator, which is awesome. Or do you want something of your own? Nothing wrong with either. I think facilitating is my own. You know what I mean? And I think this is exactly what I want. What I'm doing now. Presenting things and people and my own thoughts on A Course in Miracles. Having it all just being offered and offered and offered. I want a nurturing, healing place. I make no secret. Sometimes I get a test. Sometimes people frown upon the fact that I announce that this is right now, this is my sole means of income. This is how I'm earning an income. I'm hoping this carries me through for another year and 2 months. And guess what? I get to collect early Social Security, which I worked for. I earned. It's actually not going to be a whole lot. As I am someone who hopped job to job, getting just enough money to save up, and then sometimes I would quit and I would go backpacking for months, or I would go about looking for Grateful Dead concerts to get to, or I would devote myself to artwork, thinking this is going to be my breakthrough. I've got just enough. I can devote several months to just writing, then finding, hell, man, I got nothing to write about. But anyway, earn an income doing exactly what you love to do. And this is what I absolutely love to do right now. I wake up early, I do my breath work, I meditate, I do my yoga asanas, I make a cup of coffee, I write, and I show up. And I show up every day. I show up 3 times a day. I reach out to guests, I edit some videos, I get out and walk in nature. I love my life. Life will change. Life will present me with something other sometime. And when it does, then I'll respond to what it's asking me to do. Right now, it's asking me to be quiet, to devote myself to building something uniquely me, however that might be expressed. Turning it over, asking the Holy Spirit, what am I to do? I will make no decisions on my own today. What should I do? What should I do today? Where should I go? What should I say and to whom? And then listening. Hey, Tony. God bless you too, my friend. I hope you're well too, Kayla. So that's what I want. A little quiet place of forgiveness. I certainly do have my judgments about myself. I don't deserve it. I don't deserve to do this. I don't deserve to make an income doing what I love to do. That it's impossible to do. That how can just a guy with a phone and an internet connection and no skill in editing and no real desire to edit, um, a lot of judgment. That's the process. Forgiving those judgments. That's probably one of the most important things of what I'm doing. Isn't what I'm presenting. Hey, Jamie. It's that it's giving me an opportunity to recognize my own self-judgment and forgive myself through it. Hey, JV. I was on the JV football team. One season. I was on the JV wrestling team. Not even a whole season. I wish I could have made it for the whole season. Academically lax. I just didn't do the work academically. Man, I certainly did the work physically. I was training for a wrestling team before I even know I was training for the wrestling team. But I wasn't doing the academic work to keep me on the team. Luke says that's beautiful. Eric, I appreciate you sharing. Luke, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate the effort that you're doing. You know, I know you're going through something. I don't think people approach A Course in Miracles or yoga or meditation unless they're experiencing their own little darkness, their own little dark night of the soul, their own self-doubt, their own issues at hand. But I know you want to heal. And I think you have an invested interest in helping other people heal as well. Luke says, there is no talent. All it is an interest pursued. Beautifully said. Hey, donuts. Donuts are delicious. Hope you're doing well with life and be grateful for the things you have. I am, my friend. Thank you. Thank you for the reminder, too. All right, let's head out. Take a walk. Workout today. I still haven't done a workout live stream in a long time. It's been several months. I will again eventually. I don't know when. Right now, I'm trying to let the algorithms catch up with my new name change and, the little bit of the direction that I'm heading in. Thank you, Luke. Namaste to you, my friend. All right, so I'm going to say I love you. Jamie, are you live? Or are you going live? Take a look about who's going live. Our friend Sissy has not dropped a link for anything in a while. She doesn't need to. You know she's going to be live sometime today. Keep an eye out for her. Check her out. Listen. Share her. Give her some watch hours. Like the video. And as well, whoever else might be live. All right. Love you guys.